Hello, lovely. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your time with me today. If you haven't met me before, hello, my name is Laura, and here on this channel, I love to talk about makeup. I can talk about makeup until the cows come home. It's my favourite subject. I also share a little bit of real life, living with chronic conditions, mental health problems, all that sort of thing. I am a self-confessed mess. I don't mind admitting that, but I am real. And what you see is what you get with me. So if that sounds like something you would like to come along for the ride for, then please do subscribe to my channel. Give me a like if you like makeup content and those other things that I spoke about, and leave me a comment. I love chatting to you guys in the comment section. I'm coming to you today barefaced and very sweaty. We are having a mini heat wave here in the UK, and it is at that horrible stage of being incredibly humid. There's no sun, the sky is black like we're going to have a terrible storm, but it is so hot. I've been putting off filming this video for days until my room didn't feel like Satan's armpit, but we're not getting any further, so I'm just gonna have to be a bit sweaty, taking lots of drink breaks and fanning myself. And I've also got my old fan on in the background. Somebody might as well be standing behind me going for all the good it does, but it's better than nothing. So let's get on with this car crash of a video. Okay, so I forgot to mention in the introduction, but the reason I am barefaced is because I'm going to be doing a get ready with me today. I've been mentioning for a little while now that I wanted to talk about project panning, you know, my thoughts on all of that, and like my low buy, no buy, that sort of thing. And I seem to chat best when I'm putting makeup on. It comes more naturally and doesn't sound so scripted as when I'm just sat sort of having, you know, talking to the camera without anything else to do. So what I'm actually going to do today is use my project pan items on my face and just have a little bit of a chat with you. I have made some notes to make sure that I don't forget what I wanted to talk about, so if you see me looking down, that is why. But first of all, let's just get to this party started and let's get my skin nice and primed. Okay, so to start with, I am just going to prep my lips using the Sigma tinted lip oil. This is in the shade Tranquil, and this is all of the items, most of the items I'm going to be using today are in a project pan. I'm doing several different project pans, and I will speak more about that in a separate video where I talk about the different projects that I'm doing and exactly which products I'm panning for those projects, and show you sort of like my progress and things. Today I'm just literally going to be applying the products to my face, not really talking too much about the products themselves, but the Sigma lip oil is in a project. I'm also going to just use some of my Franken setting spray to sort of prep my skin as like a pre-priming step. Which will also help cool me down a little bit, because as I said, it is so incredibly muggy and humid at the moment. Really, really unpleasant. So let's start off by talking about my my low buy, no buy, and the reasons why, you know, what brought me to the decision that I wanted to, you know, put myself on one. I started off by going on a total no buy in March. And in March, I probably, March and April, probably bought more makeup than I have done in a 12-month period. I just kind of went a little bit mental with it. It is very much linked to my mental health and my physical health. If I am having a particularly rough time with my physical health, then I tend to struggle mentally, and my coping mechanism is shopping, especially makeup shopping. Makeup for me has always been a safe space. I've always been very overweight. I don't have friends now, but when I did have friends and we would go shopping and things like that, the only thing I could buy was makeup, and makeup has always fit. I've never had that issue of ordering a foundation and it making me feel fatter than I did to begin with because I can't do it up. Do you know what I mean? There's makeup has always been there, and it's always been something that I could buy the designer labels and buy the things that are on trend, and they would still fit and still look good. I am lucky enough to have this sounds like one of those Taken films, like a certain set of skills. Like I've always, you know, not to blow my own trumpet, but I've always been quite good with makeup. I did qualify as a makeup artist in over 20 years ago. I did a proper college course, like a year-long college course, and I got my license. So it's always been there. My earliest memories of like my mom are of her putting makeup on and things like that, and her teaching me about makeup. So there's a reason why I do have a problem. And it's not something that I'm ever going to give up completely. Like, I don't believe that I should have to give up something that brings me so much joy and that I'm good at. But I have got to a point where, as I say, the packages were coming daily. I was tripping over boxes in my bedroom of new product that I hadn't even used the last stuff that had arrived before the new stuff was coming. I discovered Vinted for like limited edition makeup and stuff that is no longer available, and I went a bit wild on there, excusing myself when I was on when I put myself on this no buy, that because it was secondhand it didn't count, and because I was getting it for such a good deal it didn't count. So I went a little bit overboard with those purchases as well. So around mid-April, I sort of was very honest with myself and people on Instagram and said, look, I need to do something about this. I need to put myself on a no buy. You know, I want to control my emotional shopping problem. I want to save for my future. You know, my future is something that very much scares me because of my health. I don't know what my future is going to look like, and because I can't work like a normal full-time job, at the moment. You know, financially, I'm worried about the future, but yet I was still spending every spare penny I had on new makeup. So I put myself on a complete no buy, and I did okay for a few weeks. I think I went pretty much a full month without buying anything, and then there was a couple of things that I knew were coming out that I was like, right, I'm going to allow myself these purchases, but that is all I'm going to buy. And it was like the Cosmic Brushes palettes, the neutrals and the cool trolls, and then Beauty Bay did their latest palette, the Botanical, and I was like, right, I am going to purchase those things, and I allowed myself to buy them. But then it kind of went that I'd go out with Mum for the day, and we'd go and have a look in like Boots and Superdrug, and I'd come out with something from there. And even though I was not buying anywhere near like I was, I definitely wasn't on a complete no buy. So I said to myself, right, look, I'm going to be honest, I just don't think it's possible for me to do a total no buy. But I still want to get control of my emotional shopping habits, my like dopamine, you know, the need for that dopamine hit, and learn to purchase like when something comes out that I really, really want, rather than purchasing everything that I see. You know, really think about the purchases and make considered purchases. So I have been on a low buy for the last, say, month and a half, but it isn't going brilliant, I'll be honest. I'm still purchasing more than I should be. I'm still having my down days emotionally where I'm hitting checkout without thinking about it, and I had cracked that for a while. But you know, I've had comments from people who've said, you know, you aren't hurting anybody by, you know, buying makeup, and you know, if it's something that brings you joy, you know, why are you trying to stop yourself? Why are you trying to punish yourself? And I'm not trying to punish myself, and I definitely agree with those comments that, you know, it's not hurting anybody, so therefore, sorry, I have an eyelash in my eye and I can't get it out, so I'm going to be blinking for a little bit. So yeah, why, you know, if it brings me joy, why don't I just allow myself to purchase? And I agree that it's not hurting anybody. You know, all my bills are paid, you know, the money that I am spending is like spare money, like pocket money. But I don't really have many savings. And you know, I contribute to the household and all of that, but like for my future, I don't have anything, like I don't have a nest egg put aside, and that really does worry me. And also, you know, going back to contributing and things, I would like to be able to do more spontaneous things financially for my parents, and spending the way that I do on makeup, I'm not able to do that. I'm not able to make those spontaneous gestures and things like that. And they bring me joy, just like makeup does. So that is something that I am sort of trying to tell myself more and try and, you know, use that as a sort of a, a way of stopping myself spending unnecessarily. But it is really, really difficult. You know, it's makeup. I know it's just powders and pigments, and it's not that serious, but I definitely have a problem when it comes to makeup. And lately, because of my health over the past few years, I barely wear makeup these days. I've been keeping like a track of how many times I wear makeup in a month. And some months it's like 6 times, you know, it's less than 10 times a month that I'm actually wearing makeup. So I'm constantly purchasing new makeup, but I'm not even wearing it. So it just seems like really insane to me that I'm adding all this beautiful makeup to my collection and I'm not even wearing it. Which is one of the reasons why I started project panning, and I will come on to that soon in a bit more detail. But I've also, as you know, if you are a follower of mine on YouTube, I haven't been filming on YouTube because my confidence just hasn't been where it should be for filming. You know, I've just felt really crappy in myself, like how I look, what value I've got to add to this, you know, to this app, and you know, that sort of thing. So I've not even been wearing makeup for filming. So it just seemed like crazy to me, like you are buying it for it to literally sit there and go bad. So I know all the logical things, you know, I know what I need to do. I just basically need to stop buying makeup. But it is really difficult. It is that one thing that makes me feel good. It gives me that, you know, it's like a drug. It gives you that bit of joy, that bit of dopamine. And, you know, I think a lot of it comes into that fantasy self as well. Like I'm buying makeup for the able-bodied Laura who has dates and friends and goes out and things like that. But in reality, I spend most of my week in pajamas looking like a bog troll. And, you know, it's just when I think about having to throw product away unused because it's gone bad, it breaks my heart because it's a waste. It's a waste of a moment. It's a waste of a, not just money, but it's a waste of, you know, a moment of me feeling really good in that lipstick or that highlighter, or you know, it's just, it's wasted time and moments where I could be feeling, you know, amazing in something. So yeah, it's when I initially said about doing this video talking about my no buy and things, I was actually doing really good on the low buy, no buy, and was going to come on here and sort of, you know, give you the news of how well I'd been doing and what I'd been doing to stay motivated and all that stuff. But in that time between having the idea to film this and actually filming it, it's not quite going as it was, and my thoughts and feelings have sort of changed on it a little bit. So I'm not on a no buy anymore, but I am on a low buy, and I'm human and I'm making mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm not doing brilliantly at the restricting myself, but I think the one thing that has changed that I am doing is I am a lot more aware of what those buying triggers are, and the purchases that I'm making are quite a bit more thought out than they used to be. Like I am sort of sitting on purchases for a little bit longer rather than just an immediate checkout. Not always, but for the most part I am. So like with a lot of things in life, it's a learning opportunity. It's something that I am hoping to crack eventually. I don't want to be beholden to the addiction of buying makeup for the rest of my life. You know, I want to be able to get to that point where I can look on Cult Beauty or Beauty Bay and not feel that longing, that need to own something. So it's yeah, it's something that is ongoing. I haven't cracked it yet, but I'll get there, I'm sure I will. My mum is trying to help as much as she can, you know, and it does make it easier to sort of say no to things when I think, oh God, mum's going to ask me why I've bought that, and aren't I supposed to be on a no buy or a low buy and stuff. Like the guilt of having to explain where that thing came from definitely does make me think twice about certain things. But yeah, so that is that situation. Not exactly how I was hoping for that part of the video to go. I wanted to be able to say, like, I've done amazing, this is how I've done it, you know, this is how much I've saved. But I have put some money in savings, you know, I am getting better at that, but I haven't cracked it completely. Okay, so just gonna do a liquid blush, and I have been actually using this lipstick. I put this lip crayon into a project pan and it has definitely expired. I put it on my lips and I can taste like that wax crayon kind of like sort of scent and taste, but I have been using it on my cheeks and really liking it for that purpose, and it doesn't seem to cause me any bother on my cheeks at all. And I'm just mixing it with some Made by Mitchell Bella Blossom. So as far as project panning is concerned, I decided to give panning a go because when I started watching a lot of no buy, low buy content, it seemed really to go hand in hand with the project panning community. And I have tried project panning before and been very unsuccessful. And whilst I am having some successes, I have realised that project panning in its original form is just not for me. It's not something that works for me. My collection is just too large to try and use one product solely until I've used it to completion. So I have got a few different projects going on. Some items within those projects I have got goals to finish items, but I've realised that that was probably a little bit too ambitious. And what I'm trying to do now is roll items in with usage goals rather than like use to completion. So I've got items in a project pan where I've set a 3-use goal, which seems really minimal, but it's things like blushes, highlighters, that sort of thing that I can rotate through them quickly. And then I've got like items in projects to use them 10 times and sort of really get to know the product. And then I've also got, you know, I'm doing like a lipstick project where I want to use a certain number of lipsticks 3 times each and decide whether I want to keep them in my collection, that sort of thing. So I have got some products that have much bigger goals, like 10 uses or 20 uses, and then, as I say, I've got things with goals to finish, but I've realised that definitely usage goals are better suited to me and my particular collection. So what I am trying to do is sort of focus on cream products and rotate them with small usage goals so that I can rotate through a lot of my cream products because they obviously go off sooner. And because I've been doing that sort of thing, I haven't really been doing a traditional shop my stash because I'm sort of switching products, like rotating products through my collection with the project pans that I'm doing. I hope that this makes sense because I'm sort of rambling a little bit, but yeah, so I've realised that panning products to completion, as I said, is just not for me. But I do love the idea of using things up. You know, the ideal would be to use like a load of foundations up to completion or get through some of my larger powder collection, you know, collections where, you know, areas within my makeup collection that I have a lot more than I'm comfortable having. But they are categories where the products take up generally a lot longer to use. You you know, it takes such a long time to use up a loose powder. You wouldn't believe how long it takes me to use something like that up, because you've seen sort of how little of it I've actually used. And that's sort of the struggle that I'm having, and the realization I've had around, you know, panning something till it's finished. It's just not going to work for me. But I am enjoying taking part in these different projects, and seeing other people use up their products definitely motivates me to show my products a lot more love. And it's also one of the reasons why I wanted to do project panning, was I wanted it to push me to put makeup on more. You know, even if I'm not going anywhere, if I'm literally just sitting indoors, I can still put my makeup on. I also hoped that it would get me filming a bit more again. So whilst I'm not going to be one of those project panners who has loads of updates where they have used up 10 full beauty products in a month, I still do want to do the project pans, and I want to hit goals on things and rotate items in their place. Like, for instance, one of the projects that I'm doing is 50 shades of brown. So it's picking 50 beauty products, doesn't have to be just makeup, that have either like brown packaging, or brown in colour, have brown in the name, that sort of thing. And so far I've hit 8 of my goals in that project, and I've actually, you know, got empties from that project. No makeup empties, but I have got some beauty empties, and have hit goals on some beauty products as well. So I am giving it a good college try, but you know, I think project panning it's a bit of a double-edged sword for me. I saw somebody say on a video once that project panning seems like a good way to punish yourself for buying too much makeup. And I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to punish myself for something that brings me a lot of joy and that is a true passion of mine. But I also want to show the products that are already in my collection love. I want to, you know, have things looking slightly used and not completely pristine. I mean, I am quite precious with my makeup. Like, I will try and keep it as pristine as possible for as long as possible, but I've realised that that's just really silly. You know, I buy the makeup to use it, and I do want my products to start looking, you know, like I love them, like I enjoy them. So that is why I've started project panning, but I've also made some realizations along the way that, you know, traditional project panning is just not for me. But I will be posting about my you know, project panning attempts and things like that. And I've also created my own project pan, which I am hoping to start soon, and share like the intro video on here. But in that project I won't be having like completion goals, it will literally be usage goals on products, because I want to rotate through my collection. And like, I don't think it's possible, but I would love to lay hands on every product within my collection within, say, 2 years. It's definitely not possible for me to do it within a year, but I could definitely try and use everything within my collection at least once or twice over a couple of years, if I really put my back into it and my mind to it. One of the projects that I have been doing and have actually really been enjoying is No Pan Left Behind. So I'm not going to get to use every single one of my eyeshadow palettes in a year. It's just not going to happen. But what I am trying to do is the palettes that I do use them enough times that I use every single shade within the palette at least once, to really get to know the palette and decide, you know, how I like it. And my mum's decluttered a few relics to me, and one of them is the Too Faced Natural at Night palette. And I did some research on this yesterday, and this palette came out 12 years ago. Now I don't know if this particular palette is 12 years old. I hope not, but it still works perfectly fine. It's not giving me any issues, and that has been a focus palette for me, as well as this one, the Too Faced Natural Love. This is one that I've been eyeing up in my mum's collection for years, and she finally gave it to me. I mean, she's almost hit pan on a couple of the shades herself, but a lot of them were completely untouched, and I've been working to hit No Pan Left Behind on this. I've only got a few shades left to use, but I'm also trying to do No Pan Left Behind on my Build Your Own palette, this cooler palette here of singles. So I want to do a look today using the Natural at Night and my Build Your Own palette, and see if I can do something a little bit funky with like the warm tones and the cool tones. Okay, so I've primed my eyes with Revlon Cherry Blossom, but I'm also going to start putting down some depth with Nude Sticks Terra. This is a product that I actually put in to finish stupidly, because I've barely touched my Nude Sticks pencils since I've had them, and I had to throw two away the other day because they had completely dried up. So they are sort of a priority item for me this year. I'm trying to get to use them in looks as much as I can, and that shade Terra is a brilliant sort of priming shade. It goes with pretty much everything. So I'm just going to blend that in. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the Too Faced Natural at Night, and I'm going to use this cream shade here that looks just like a lid setting shade in the pan, but it does have some colour to it against my very fair skin. Okay, just lay a base down with that, And then I'm going to jump over to my Build Your Own palette, and I'm going to go into this first shade here, this like taupey shade. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to the Too Faced Natural at Night, and I'm going to go for this dark matte brown here called Cocoa Star, and I'm just going to put that along my lash line. Just to add a little bit of depth. Okay, now I've built my mats, I'm going to go in with this shade Eclipse from the Too Faced Natural at Night palette. It's this like burgundy colour, and I'm going to put that on the outer half of my lid. And these are like more of a, well, this particular shade is more of a satin. So I think like one of these super sparkly shades from my indie singles will play really nicely with it. Okay, and then for my lid shade, I think I'm going to go for this brighter turquoise blue, which flips to purple, and I'm going to put that on the inner part of my lid. I will go in and do the corner with a little brush in a second. I've got a bit of fallout. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit more of that like burgundy shade. just to help marry the two together. And then just for my brow bone, I'm going to take a little bit of this shade here. I'm just going to clean up a little with the cream shade. Just go round everything. And then, yeah, I'm just going to take that shade there called Full Moon a tiny bit, because it does have some base pigment, and just brush it. Okay. Right, so those are that's my eyeshadow done. Now I'm just gonna pop off camera and do my brows, some liner and mascara, and I'll be back to finish the face. Okay, so that is my eyes done. They're kind of interesting, like grungy, kind of an oil slick vibe, and I'm kind of digging it. I'm so hot that my brow glue had melted and not dried, so they were still wet and sticky when I tried to put my brow pencil through them, but they will do. So all I have left to do now is blush, a little highlight and a lip. For blush, I am going to use, this is in my project pan but has become a favourite, I can't stop using it, the NARS cheap palette. I got this from Vinted. This is the high profile cheap palette, and it's been one of my favourite purchases of the year. I'm going to go for like a neutrally blush. And then for my cream highlight, I used Flexitarian, an old but gold product, and I think I'm just gonna reinforce a tiny bit of that on my cheekbones. I love the like wet glass skin effect this highlighter gives. This was one of the products that I put in just to use 3 times and then roll it out, but I keep using it, and it's one that's sat neglected in my collection for years. So the project panning is doing something. I also think it's making me be a little bit more creative, especially the No Pan Left Behind is making me be more creative, because I'm reaching for shades that I wouldn't naturally, you know, be inclined to use. So I just take this lip oil off and we'll do a lip. So I'm sorry this video wasn't what I had hoped it would be. You know, a super successful project pan and no buy situation. But as I say in the intros to my videos, I'm real, I'm genuine, I'm straight up. I'm definitely not perfect. I've got a lot of weaknesses, especially when it comes to makeup, and you know, life isn't as I imagined it would be, and what I imagine it would be, and when I buy all this makeup. So I'm just using MAC Half Red lip liner. This is another one that was decluttered back to me from my mum. We are constantly ping-ponging makeup backwards and forwards between us. And then this is Mud Wrestler from MAC, which is, I don't think is available anymore. And this is like a really light, cool toned nude, which I thought would go with the like grungy eye use that I've got going on. Okay, and then because I always forget to use it, I'm going to use my Hourglass ambient lighting palette, the little trio, and I'm going to use this darkest shade here, and I'm just going to sort of go over where I've put my bronzer, just to add a little bit of a finishing touch. There we go. That is my makeup done. I'm just now going to tape my curls down and we'll see the final look. Okay, so I haven't properly brushed my curls out, but you get the gist. I did a really small tongue, so I need to put some oil and stuff through. So thank you so much for watching today. I'm sorry as usual that the video was a bit all over the place and I was a little bit scattered. I hope you like the finished look. I'm really pleased with it. Got a nice glowy grungy vibe going on. If you do like this video, then please give it a like. If you would like to hear more about my project panning exploits, then please let me know. I am the worst project panner known to man. But yeah, I would love to hear from you in the comments section, and I would love if you would join my little coven here over on the channel. So thanks so much for watching, lovely. Bye now.